I've been here 4 years on the budget committee each year, and the last 2 years prior to this, we did 16 hearings, and we didn't do one hearing on the mechanics of actually doing a budget. This is the budget committee. We haven't put one together fully budgeted and appropriated on time in 25 years. I've got 4 kids that now run my business, 3 of my 4 kids. And I was on a school board 10 years, state legislator for 3 years. No other place works like that and has a business plan that works into the future. I also come to the Senate and believe, as Republicans and conservatives, that if we don't weigh in on big issues of the day, shame on us. And then we're going to be at the expense of whatever the other idea is. Started the Climate Caucus back 6 months after I got here. Got 6 other Republicans to join, and we've been an engaging caucus, a real caucus. It's met over time. So the issues are there, but I think unless we want to change the name of this committee to the General Issues of Concern Committee, we owe it to the American public that we're not going to base it upon doing no budgeting, no appropriating, doing it behind closed doors, and dropping 4,100-page bills in our lap that none of us can read through, and then having the gall to borrow the money from our kids and our grandkids. That is shameful. We should be fleshing out the climate issues probably in EPW. I've been the loudest senator on the Republican side that says we have a broken healthcare system. Fixed it in my own business 15 years ago, made it consumer driven, put skin in the game for my own employees to be real healthcare consumers. Cut costs by 50%, have not had premium increases in 15 years. That sounds like it'd be unbelievable, but it's true. When you do things that make sense and that are sustainable, and I've got healthier employees for that now. So, healthcare, it's breaking the bank in terms of, mentioned earlier, Medicare, until you reform the healthcare industry and embrace competition, transparency, don't give hospitals all the rules and regs they need to become an unregulated utility, like a monopoly, in the sense of how they work, probably going to see costs going up. So I'm not going to weigh in on the climate issue other than we've been doing it. The experts there, the leaders and captains of industry, I think are accepting it as an issue. It's going to be solved in that arena through technology, not here. And it does beg the question, when China's building a coal-fired plant weekly, how does that whole thing fit into the equation? So I want to cite a few more statistics, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Carney, who is out there in the cyber world, and Dr. Holtz-Eakin, what you think about the trajectory we're on. The only budget out there that anybody's had the nerve to put out there would be, I did it last year, privilege motion. We should discharge a budget resolution by April 15th. There'll be some of us to do that again. But just cutting to what we do, which is no budgeting, no appropriating, and then whether you believe in reforming things on a climate basis and healthcare, what about the idea that we're adding trillions to our national debt? 18 trillion when I got here, now 31 trillion. Started back in 2000 when we put a couple wars on the credit card that took us from 5 trillion in debt to 10 trillion. Next administration said, well, we're not going to be outdone. Added another 6 trillion. I get here, it's 18 trillion. It's been off the rails ever since. Start with Mr. Carney. You come from the banking industry. I debated Bernie Sanders for 25 minutes on the Senate floor about the modern monetary theory. Can we keep borrowing and borrowing without having the consequences of crowding out all the issues that are going to come into play? Is that a viable long-term business plan? And then like Dr. Holtz-Eakin to weigh in as well.
Thank you, Senator. I'll make a couple quick comments. The first is that crowding out is an issue. I think Professor Holtz-Eakin has made this point in this fora and other fora. And it is, secondly, it is a relevant issue for climate change because of the costs of adaptation, resilience, and delayed action is going to lead to much greater crowding out and bigger economic impacts as well. So the fiscal situation you describe, and I won't comment obviously directly on U.S. Situation, but this underscores the importance of revenue neutral use of regulation and effective policies that other senators have been referencing. Last point I'll make before handing over to the other witness is I would just refer, given the earlier discussion, to the carbon tax in Canada, which is revenue neutral, is returned to Canadians and ensures about 70% of Canadian households come out net ahead, including
What
the
about
most
the
vulnerable.
modern monetary theory, climate aside?
I don't
I
subscribe
figured
at
you
all to
may
it.
not weigh in on
Yeah.
that. Go ahead.
No, well, no, that's a theory, and to which I do not subscribe
Well, I can
at all.
tell you it's a bad theory. Anywhere else you borrow from future generations, it does not work out. Dr.
I
Holtz-Eakin.
agree.
Well, one, the federal budget is on an unsustainable trajectory and it's getting worse. Two, it is imposing costs on the economy today and will increasingly impose those costs. The crowding out is real. And three, there's nothing about modern monetary theory that coincides with the real world experience. It's just incorrect.
Yes, and thank you for that. And I think we should try to discharge a budget resolution by April 15th. If not, I will take one to the floor again because it's our responsibility to our kids and grandkids not to run this place like we currently run it.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to